Okay, so welcome everyone to our today's webinar. We will be talking about the integration of Progress Flowmon with Logmanager and how combining network traffic insights and logs helps for faster incident troubleshooting and response. My name is Arthur Kane. I'll be your host today. And joining me is Philip Czerny, my very old colleague who I really enjoy working with. So I'm really happy that we could throw this session together. Hello, Philip. Welcome.
Hi, Arthur. Thanks for having me. And just pull up the screen. You're not sharing.
Sure, I wanted people to see our
Ah,
faces first, and now I'll
all
start
right.
sharing the screen. Okay, so if anyone can please confirm whether you can see the screen, all sounds and cameras are good, that will be great. Thank you. Before we jump into the content, there is a few buttons that you can use during the session. You can raise question anytime using the button Q&A. Ideally, please do not use the chat because it's not as easy to track questions and then responses. We will not be running any polls today, so you can disregard the second option. And let me remind you that our every webinar is being recorded, and you will receive the recording tomorrow in a follow-up email. And if you're subscribed to our YouTube channel, you will get notification today, and you can rewatch the session today. We will also be sharing this presentation deck with you. So, what's ahead of us today? On the agenda, we will talk about why visibility from Flowmon and context from Log Manager matters. Philip will do a quick introduction of what Flowmon is and how it works and how it benefits Log Manager. I will do very briefly the same. We will then explain the three layers of integration and how technically it works. We will then jump into the main part of the webinar, which is live demonstration. Again, we will be demonstrating both Flowmon and Log Manager that we've deployed in our lab environment. And then we will talk about how this joint solution will help you to comply with latest legislation like NIS2. You will also have time for questions and answers, but you can shoot them anytime during the session. So without further ado, let me start by explaining that detection doesn't mean understanding. We have plenty of tools like Flowmon. It doesn't mean that Flowmon is a common or simple, but there are many tools that detect attacks and cybersecurity incidents. However, after the detection is done, analysts lose a lot of time trying to investigate the whereabouts of the incident. Not only who was involved, but what data was involved, stolen, what is the impact, what systems are affected. And usually they have to switch between many tools to do that. And that makes it really hard to see the whole picture. And lengthens the time needed to investigate and report. So to detect attacks in their early stages, we start with Flowmon. And let me give you the word, Philip, now.
Mhm.
And please
Thanks.
explain
Thanks, Arthur.
your part.
So why network detection is critical? Well, for obvious reasons, if an attacker gains access into your corporate environment, let's say, and suddenly starts stealing some data, you probably want to be aware that something like this is happening and ideally see those early indicators of compromise that led to the final exfiltration or encryption of your data and be able to stop it. So that's where network detection and response solutions such as Flowmon plays a key role because many attacks bypass the traditional perimeter defenses such as endpoint and firewalls. So network visibility and threat detection is key, and it is basically the key tool that is capable of spotting those lateral movement that is only visible on the network layer. Because Flowmon has that visibility into the network traffic, we can then apply our own security engine that is capable of spotting those early indicators of compromise, those anomalies, and provide you early warning signals for threat detection and quick response. So you have one tool that is capable of provide the early threat detection, threat hunting capabilities, give you a full picture of the attack, cover the full scope from discoveries, from dictionary attacks, credential access, lateral movement, exfiltration, and encryption, all the way to the impact stage. Uh, we see that this is let's say, more and more common ask among customers that you want to have a full visibility into your IT environment, whether it is on-premise, on cloud, or hybrid. You want to see the equalize layer, let's say, equalize protection across those hybrid environments. So having one platform that is capable of doing that is essential, and that is what Flowmon can deliver. And also, there is a new, not new, there is a new legislative compliance in Europe, NIS2, that we'll be talking about more later on, but other compliance, depending on the states where you live in, might apply, and Flowmon is capable to help you with that early threat detection and cybersecurity.
Like DORA, PCI,
GDPR and so
yeah,
on.
DSS, etc. Right.
So Flowmon, simply put, you can imagine as an AI-powered network security analyst that we deliver to you as a software who is monitoring your network communications 24/7 in real time and is capable of spotting those early anomalies because we apply a number of different approaches from machine learning, AI, behavior analytics, complemented with signature-based detection and threat intelligence to spot those early indicators of compromise. We provide you a smart prioritization. So when you come to work first thing in the morning, when you open Flowmon, you can see the key changes in your environment. What's the threat score? What's the highest threat score in your environment, or which threat score was risen by the most amount? What's the change in trends? What kind of new detections were triggered? And we provide all that with human language explanation, so you have an easy understanding of what was detected by and what should you do as a remediation action. So this way we help you automate analytics so you don't waste time on manual troubleshooting and root cause analysis, but you can quickly spot those anomalies and respond to them. Mm. So how is Flowmon different? Uh, First, the solution leverages, let's say, lightweight network telemetry, so it's capable of scaling from smallest environments to the largest enterprise networks. And you don't need to limit yourself by only monitoring mission critical applications because the solution is either difficult to scale or there is a significant cost to those enterprise grade solutions, let's say. With Flowmon, you don't need to limit yourself for mission critical applications. You can monitor your entire environment and avoid blind spots. Many customers often told us that they don't want another black box in their environment. They want to understand the reasoning behind the detection, to be able to tune the detection methods, and basically adjust the false positive rate and therefore have a better response capabilities. This is exactly what you can do with Flowmon. You can have a look under the hood. You can tune individual detection methods with our help. Of course, we can guide you to make sure that the solution is properly tuned for your environment to make sure the best result, to ensure the best result. And also with Flowmon, because we have the visibility into the network traffic, you can be sure that all data is processed, it's unsampled. Therefore, we're lowering the chance of oversight for critical events. Oh, with Flowmon, or before deploying an NDR solution, you might want to ask yourself a questions like, what's your priority? Do you want to detect only known or unknown threats or just some specific indicators of compromise? With Flowmon, you have a superior detection methods and you're capable to cover the full attack scope, anomalies from discovery phase, credential access, all the way through lateral movement, exploitation, exfiltration, and impact. So we leverage MITRE ATT&CK framework. So depending on at which stage the anomaly was triggered, it gives you a clear understanding where you are in the full attack cycle, and therefore how quickly we should probably respond. So that's Flowmon. We see it. We test it as the key vendors in the market. In our lab, we noticed that some of them don't provide this full visibility into those layers. So with Flowmon, you're actually getting that full attack coverage. But I always recommend do a POC with us and you see for yourself.
Thank
And
you. So, why detection alone is not enough? It's because, regardless of how uh, the detection technologies try, and that includes Flowmon, right? Because in Flowmon, as you will see in live demo, you will see a clear explanation who is the attack source, what is the destination. You will see description of the attack. You will see what ports were communicated on. It doesn't have the full picture. As long as you don't have information like identity and only IP address, it's harder to investigate who this was. You would have to log into your Active Directory, DHCP systems, look for information, dig for it. It's even harder to do when you do retroactive analysis mm, a long time back in time. Now, without this information, it's not that easy to determine the scope. So while you can have an attack picked up by Flowmon, it can be still isolated in terms of Flowmon will show you the networking picture and how someone tried to laterally move across the network, attack some specific ports, and then maybe misuse some credentials to get in. But with Logmanager, you get additional layer as we can collect data directly from the application. So you can very nicely see what was the result of the network communication on the application itself. So instead of switching between multiple tools and waiting times on manual investigation, the integration just makes sense. Everything produces logs, right? So you can get logs from your networking environment, from your applications, from your web application servers, from your detection tools. And while there is some standardization, we see in reality that every log looks different. So it's a task for a log manager to be able to, out of the box, collect and understand all those logs. And we do this exactly for Flowmon, and it's been tested. And on our live demo, we will show you how it actually works. With that information from Flowmon, we collect it, normalize it, store it, and show you how to search and report on it again in our live demo today. So our role in this whole situation is that we collect logs from Flowmon through syslog. We will demonstrate the configuration itself. We combine the logs across the whole infrastructure to see not only networking data, but also application logs, server logs, on-premise, in the cloud, and we visualize them with the full context and store them for a long time so that you can either, or you can actually both uh, analyze incidents back in time, but also comply with legislation like NIS2, which for critical subjects actually requires for this type of data to be stored for extensive periods of time. And you may ask, why not deploy SIEM system and achieve these critical capabilities? Well, when we look at this study that shows responses by users of SIEM system, the reasons why or the features why they went for SIEM system are as follows, and they're sorted by the number of people who actually said this is the most critical feature for them. So starting with user behavior analytics, this is what Flowmon does in terms of incident investigation in broader way, not only network, but also application servers, users, etc. This is what Log Manager offers. Then we have threat hunting with Flowmon, looking at specific communication points and timestamps of different activities. We have detections that both technologies offer, and then correlation, compliance, log management, log storage. So you can choose two routes. If you have money, you have or budget, you have the teams and people around. If you have long time to deploy and operate and manage an update sim system, which is a never-ending story, then great, go this route. But then if you want something more lightweight and smart and be smart by combining two lightweight solutions together that give you most of what people need from sim system, then Flowmon and Log Manager is your best shot. So some of the benefits of the integration is that we reduce the time needed to respond, which we will demonstrate. We give you clear evidence of what happened to better understand the attack scope. We unify the dashboards. The integration also actually links the systems together. We will show that too. And we help you to be compliant with recent legislation. Now, let's talk about the integration itself from the technical perspective before we show it hands-on. There are three, not sure if levels, maybe layers of integration. And starting with the first one, it's collecting event log data from Flowmon and storing it in Log Manager. So Flowmon can simply enable syslog sending to Log Manager, and Log Manager automatically understands that these logs are coming from Flowmon. It classifies, parses them, and has inbuilt dashboards to show those logs. Next layer of this integration is adding URL to the event detail in Flowmon into the log stores in Log Manager. This might sound a bit confusing. We will show that it will make sense. And this helps analysts to go from Log Manager directly into the detail of the event in Flowmon to continue investigation if needed within the Flowmon user interface. And the third layer of integration is mapping user IDs onto IP addresses seen in Flowmon. So most of the companies have some identity authentication services like Active Directory, and they can manage accesses within one system. Now, it would be great to understand who is the user behind an IP address at a given time for every detection tool that you have. And you may choose to either send this data and separately configure it for each system individually, and then change and make updates as those vendors of those other technologies receiving those logs change their, for instance, documentation. Or you can choose to send them and collect them in Log Manager, and then from Log Manager centrally enrich logs from all the detection tools within that system and do the configuration once. So, but this integration goes a little bit beyond where Flowmon can get data from Active Directory directly and show usernames within the user interface. But if that's not been set up and you already have your usernames in Log Manager, you can enrich Flowmon data within their user interface with this information to understand what is the user behind an IP. Right, and it's time for a live demo. Philip, you will take the first part, so I'll stop sharing.
Yeah, and we can jump into the Flowmon. Can you just confirm you can see my screen?
Not yet. And I can see your screen now.
All right. So we are now in Flowmon user interface. This is the main dashboard and reports. You can customize it as you see fit, but we want to do the integration with Log Manager. So we need to move to Flowmon Configuration Center, and under the System tab and uh, section syslog server, we can basically create a new syslog client. Either clicking here or I already have it set up here. We just need to connect it with IP address and port and choose a protocol, either TCP or UDP. And this basically enables the syslog export to the log manager. Second thing which we can do is the create a new rule, which we have described in the log manager documentation. And if I just scroll down here, I need to copy the rule here. And if I go back, and again, I have it already here created, or I can click the create new rule. I'll just select a name and paste the rule I just copied under the login message rule and save it. That's it. It's just easy as it as this. And now
I'm
if
sorry to jump in. Just to better explain, you did two steps. One was syslog export. This is the first layer of integration, if you remember our previous
yeah.
slide. And then you set up the identity mapping, which is the third layer of our integration.
Yes, thank you. And now if I leave Configuration Center and I proceed to the Flowmon anomaly detection system, this is where we basically provide the security insight, the early detection. As I mentioned, we do the prioritization for you, so you see the immediate changes. You can see the anomalies detected, visualized on the timeline. We can filter by different priorities or each individual detection method. And I have all the events filtered by detection listed here. Let's say I'm interested in the dictionary attack, for example. So I have number of different events. Let's just explore the first one. This is the event detail, standardized form, how we present you the security intelligence. And you can see what anomaly was detected. So there was a dictionary attack for SSH protocol. There is a description. There are timestamps. We can see which IP address is responsible. We don't have the user identity, for which we will use Log Manager, and we have some other useful information such as a summary correlation to the MITRE ATT&CK framework. We provide the recommendations how you might want to deal with this sort of anomaly. There is event evidence, for example, individual flow records tied to this anomaly. There are other important stuff like attributes. We can visualize the event or connect to other uh, connect to other signature-based detections. In this case, there aren't any. So this is Flowmon. I, Arthur, if you can now take the screen, let's see how we can connect the user identity within Log Manager.
Sure, let's do that. If the screen sharing is not working, shout, please.
Yep, it's up.
Thank you. So to continue on top of what you said, once the data is being sent to Log Manager, there's not much you need to do. And when I go to processing and parsers and search for Flowmon, you will see that we have an inbuilt parser. So the system understands log from Flowmon natively. We also have bugs created for Flowmon. And so when I quickly jump into dashboard, let's say log overview, you can see that the system flags logs from Flowmon as Flowmon, and it's offered here as a filter. But let me go back quickly into alerts to show you how you can configure the second layer of the integration, which means adding URL of the event detail in Flowmon UI directly into a log stored in Logmanager. And it's done by an inbuilt alert where the only thing you will do is to define the host name of your Flowmon solution to be populated in the full URL. So that's pretty much the only configuration you do, one host name, and all the three layers of the integration are then enabled. Now, let's build on top of the dictionary attack event that Philip presented. I'll go to dashboard, and I also mentioned that we have an inbuilt dashboard for Flowmon, so let me search for that. Here's progress from Flowmon ADS. When I open the dashboard and scroll down a bit, let's find that event category. Anomaly, multicast. I don't see it here. It's probably so small that it doesn't fit into the top 10 list here. So let me search for other. When I add it into a filter and scroll up to show you, you can see that Log Manager automatically creates a filter not to show the top categories of events. And now I can see that within the other category, we have the dictionary attack that we were searching for. I'm not worried about the rest of the events now, so let's add dictionary attack into our filter to only see that type of attack. Again, I have a new automatic filter populated here. And right away, I can see that it wasn't isolated only to SSH, but there are also some other protocols involved like SMTP, Samba, FTP, and RDP. Um, right, so I know that there are some attacks, and I also see the sources. This is information that you see in Flowmon as well. Um, Let me maybe scroll down a bit to also show you the volumes of data transferred, which are very small. That indicates that only attempts to log in were made, but there was no big data transfers done. When I go all the way to the list of logs, when I present the full logs, let me show you how the URL into the event detail looks like. It's populated right here, event URL. When I open it in a new tab, it takes me to the detail of the event in Flowmon. Now, let's go back a little bit and see all the source IPs of the attack. When I inspect it, I have this table. And I want to search for the traffic related to these IP addresses that was happening around the event of the dictionary attack. For that, I'll go into Discover, which is a search feature of Log Manager, and I'll add these IP addresses into my filter of source IP addresses. I'll choose is one of these IP addresses. I'll add that into my filter. And since my time frame is only 15 minutes, I'll probably extend that to 15 days ago and update my search query. Now, I'm interested in this time frame, so let's mark it. And what I see is um, all the logs related to these IP addresses, not only from Flowmon, but any other system. But I don't want to see the full length of the log. I'm specifically interested in the source IP. So let me add that into my table. I'm specifically also interested in the destination IP. And I'm also interested in stacks, or in other words, the systems where we see occurrences of communication of these stackers' IP addresses. Now, we've already investigated Flowmon once, so let me exclude that from the filter. And right now we can see that the filter is being built as we go. And what I see is that there's quite a few logs related to FortiGate firewall. So let's now focus on our investigation on that system. For FortiGate, we also have an inbuilt dashboard. So let me go to that one. It's actually presented right here on the default dashboard with the list of inbuilt inbuilt dashboards. And after opening this FortiGate traffic log dashboard, we can again add into our filter those specific IP addresses that we are interested in. So again, is one of all those IP addresses, save that. Maybe one last day is fine for the demonstration. And when I scroll down, I can see indeed the services that were being attacked. But also now I see the result of that communication, that some of those attempts were accepted, some were timed out, etc. Now, when I scroll a bit deeper, I can confirm all those IP addresses that we put into our filter as source IPs. But what may be interesting is this visualization here that visually presents what are the communication partners of that IP address. Now, when I click on that, I can see all those IPs. Now, since Log Manager has information from the server or application layer as well, what I would do now is to take this IP address and do further search on to understand what type of service it is, what it does, what happened within the communication related to the attack, etc. Also, I have the graphical visualization on the map. In our lab, for some reason, the country of the logs from FortiGate shows China. We although send it from a local IP in Czech Republic, we can definitely work on that. But for the demonstration purposes, this is just a representation of how you can view the data. And again, all the logs related to these visualizations are listed down below. And we can see the level of application detail, which tells us what was the action that FortiGate took with that communication sent to them, so we understand the character of the events related to it. All right. Let me go back to the presentation. Quickly stop sharing, prepare the deck, and start the presentation back again.
Yeah, it's up.
Thank you. And now, since we mentioned a few times that the combination of Logmanager and Flowmon helps you to comply with some cybersecurity legislation, let's have a look at specifically some categories of things that you need to comply with within NIS2 legislation. And I'm not sure if it's visible enough, but some of these categories are bold, and those we will quickly tell you how you can support. So, Felipe, if you can start with the first
Hmm.
one.
Yeah. So the first one, first category that Flowmon helps you comply with is the security of communication networks. So with Flowmon, we can monitor the whole environment, the whole networks. We can see all the communications flow, whether it is on-premise, cloud, private or public or hybrid. We can basically provide that level of visibility. Secondly, is the detection of cybersecurity events. We've demonstrated this in the demo. So with Flowmon, we're capable of identifying or detecting those early indicators of compromise at the early stage of the attack all the way throughout the end. So for example, all the stages of ransomware attack from the scanning of the environment, breaking passwords, moving laterally, then collecting the data and exfiltrating it out of the corporate network and the uh, encrypting it in the corporate environment. So those are the stages of a ransomware attack and that detection capabilities that Flowmon helps you comply.
And of
Next,
course, logging is done by Logmanager,
Hmm.
and uh, we log the information about user accesses and other events that may be a part of further investigation of a data leak or other cybersecurity attack. So all this data is stored in Log Manager for extensive periods of time, so that also the evaluation of cybersecurity events can be done with this data. So when you need to report to local national authority that some protected data has been leaked, the source of truth is Log Manager, and it will help you to build those reports for those authorities.
Hmm. For cryptographic algorithms, Flowmon on its own, we don't do cryptography, but we are capable of alert you which applications are using specific cryptographic algorithms. If they are out of date or they are using weak ciphers, we can basically provide alerts on that, and you can then respond. And lastly, it's the ensuring the availability of the regulated service. So with Flowmon, we can measure the availability of mission critical applications and can provide you basically when there is a downtime, so you can quickly respond before severe impact. So
Thank you. And now, what you can do next? Since some of you already have Log Manager, it's the easiest thing to use the second link, which is a trial license for Flowmon that you can run in your environment and try the integration yourself. If you have Flowmon and want to try Log Manager, use the first link. And the whole integration is described in our documentation on the third link. Since we don't have any further questions, I thank you very much for joining today. And hopefully we'll see you on some next session soon. If that's not before Christmas, then happy Christmas, everyone. Felipe, thank you so much for joining and creating some content.
thank you, Arthur.
All right, take care. Bye.
Goodbye, everyone.